Okay, so let me ask a question then, right? So if you could choose, you're only allowed one bike, e-bike, right? And you get your choice of the geometry sorted on it. Like let's say it's just a modern, up-to-date bike with well-sorted geometry. You have to choose the travel front and rear, and this has to be your forever bike, right? Welcome to the Recharge podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Rob.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Will.
We're going to be talking every week pretty much about anything in the e-bike world, or mountain bike world actually. It doesn't just have to be e-biking. And yeah, new format for the channel. I'm super excited to be joined by extra people actually. It's normally just me. It doesn't get boring and lonely. I'll probably just do a quick intro actually, because people have possibly seen both you guys before, but Adam is well, you can maybe intro yourself.
I'm just a guy who likes e-bikes. No, I'm a fully converted e-biker. Had some experience doing presenting before for another channel, but essentially just an e-bike enthusiast all round. And in the bike industry for about 11 years now, so I've seen a few bits and pieces.
Nice. Cheers, mate. And Will?
I'm basically just someone that's created a YouTube channel and run my own channel for like 7 or 8 years now, I think, making like monthly videos, all mountain bike related, and a few e-bike ones.
Yeah. And Will, out of all of us, is an absolute shredder and probably quite humble.
No, stop it.
But we can give him hell because he's not an e-bike exclusive e-biker.
No.
Yeah.
In fact, you ride mainly because you were a special. Hope you don't mind me saying.
Oh, I don't mind, Rob, please.
You were a specialised. Would you say a sponsored rider or ambassador? Is that the same
I
thing?
think sort of a mixture of both. But yeah, for 3 years, so that was fun.
I had different. I thought it was pro athlete.
Oh no, I don't think so. I don't think I was quite there. But yeah, so I rode a lot of e-bikes and normal bikes, but mainly e-bikes because that's where the industry's going, isn't it?
For sure. Right. So we got some topics to cover. Some pretty spicy ones to start with. So on the list today, we've got, is there any point in short travel e-bikes? Controversial one.
Yeah.
What is a lightweight e-bike? And something about e-bike racing, and then something about suspension. Maybe you can see these gold Fox forks, but do gold lowers make you faster?
I don't think you can miss it, Rob. The answer to that right now, I think from your perspective, is yes.
They're pretty good, I'm not going to lie. All right, so let's start. So short travel e-bikes, right? What is the point in short travel e-bikes, I guess, is the topic. I've been a massive fan of long travel e-bikes the more that I've ridden them. And to me, there are so many benefits of having a long travel. Like even up to 200, you can still commute to work, ride to the shops, do a cross-country ride it on a road, do a World Cup downhill track on. Genuinely, right?
You're that kind of e-biker.
Yeah, but why would you not choose that? That's like, I'm a big fan of them, but I know you guys think a bit different than me.
I think the way you framed it is sensible. It's probably the way that most people should think. If you're going to get one bike to do it all, why wouldn't you go for more travel? But in the ever-evolving world of mountain bikes and e-mountain bikes and how things have changed, you can get a long travel mountain bike that'd be the same equivalent, but now people are going towards short travel because of geometry. And I'd have to say that I am a big believer in short travel e-bikes. It's not so much a weight thing, it's it's that maneuverability, it's poppy, it's playful. Yes, I get that you're limiting yourself to some degree, but I would be in the mind of like skill over travel, 100% any day.
Fair.
Geometry makes a big difference.
Well, you've been riding hold on, your bike that you built is a short, would you class it as a short travel
My personal bike.
pedal bike?
Yeah, so it's 130mm on rear.
It's like nothing.
Yeah, and it's got those flex stays as well. So
plenty.
Yeah.
Plenty.
So it is more, I would say more of like a trail bike, right? Or not quite an XC bike, but somewhere in the middle. But yeah, I've been riding that just because I got it for a banging deal on Facebook Marketplace. Basically, it was just it was such a good deal that I didn't really care about the travel. I was like, yeah, I just have to buy it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The only The only downside I've found has been that my feet come off loads because I'm not clipped in. Like having less travel, my feet just get blown off like all the time.
Especially over like rock and
anything
roots.
chunky, it just gets hectic.
To be fair, that's a valid point I hadn't really thought of. And I've ridden a shorter travel e-bike up in places where you probably shouldn't be riding a 130, 140 mil travel bike. And yeah, like arguably blowing your feet off the pedals is probably the worst thing I experienced. But being rapid, fun, playful, choosing line choices, having a short travel bike, it wasn't a weight thing. It was the travel that didn't soak up loads in terms of being able to be more maneuverable and more, just more conscious. I think it puts you in a mindset where you're far more conscious of the trail you're riding and how to ride that trail rather than just going, wee, magic carpet ride, which is fun. But it's different.
It is a question of what do you find fun? But I guess like to Will's bike, yours is a regular pedal bike, right? Not an e-bike. Analog, yeah. Whereas I always find on an e-bike, right, if you've got long travel, many of the downsides of having a long travel pedal bike disappear, like inefficient pedal, bobby. Like you wouldn't pedal a 200 mil travel bike on a cross country ride. But you could do that on a long travel e-bike.
Could
Also,
is the key word. I don't think you would. But
that people do that. I've seen, back in the day when we first started.
Like downhill bike?
Yeah, I used to pedal my downhill bike. It was the only bike I had from where I live to the Surrey Hills, which was about an hour and a half pedal, like 16 miles on a downhill bike with a full face on.
You can't tell me you enjoyed that.
No, I didn't enjoy it, but I just did it. But I feel like there must be people that do that.
That was the only option. To be fair, I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day and he said, you need to do the old Avan Forest and Cumcarn loop on a downhill bike. And we just ground and we just did it because that was the only option. Now, I think we're spoiled. So you can have a 12-speed drivetrain with the biggest cassette and you can climb up a hill nice and easy and you've got electric power. But it's because you've got the option to. When back in the day, you didn't. So I think the question kind of comes down to the choice and the range of what you're doing on the bike and what the intended purpose is, and again what your aim is. And I think the same thing applies to mountain bikes as it does to e-bikes, as much as having an e-bike negates some of those downsides.
Okay, so let me ask a question then, right? So if you could choose, you're only allowed one bike, e-bike, right? And you get your choice of the geometry sorted on it, like let's say it's just a modern, up-to-date bike with well-sorted geometry. You have to choose the travel front and rear, and this has to be your forever bike, right? The bike that you got to ride for the next 2 years.
2 years? That's not a forever
All
bike.
right, sorry.
No, that's a forever bike. 2 years, 1 year is not a forever ride. 2 years is oh god, that's getting old, isn't it?
Yeah. So what would you choose? Like front travel, rear travel?
Yeah, we're not choosing a specific bike. I'm not going.
Yeah. In fact, Will, you go first. What?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think 170 both. I think that's a nice middle ground.
You're letting the team down. Come on, man.
But then I'm a lightweight e-bike guy, so I'd take a 170 mil lightweight e-bike.
I see. That kind of feels contradictory. To be honest, 130 on the back, 150 on the front.
Really?
Yeah, wild. So I would have said 150, 150, 160, 160, but I don't think you need as much travel on the back.
130?
130 on the 130, 140.
So what if you got a ride, like let's say next week we're going to Fort William?
Yeah, 100%, absolutely fine.
You'd ride that?
Yeah, I mean, arguably it would have to be a new bike because I'll probably blow up the shock and need a warranty. But I'm fine.
How would you feel comfortable riding a 130? You'd get... Really?
Sounds
You'd
crazy.
Genuinely do that?
I think there's a lot more that relies on geometry, kinematics, and suspension design that can really, like, for example, Evil are a big culprit of this, and same with like Forbidden. You know, they're using bikes like not the Dreadnought, the other one,
Druid.
There you go, with 130 on the back, but it doesn't feel like a 130 bike. It's got so much.
That's when you're riding a World Cup downhill track.
Yeah, that would be
fair play.
Still, I don't know, but then I'd say to you, you know, you're riding your 170 bike. What happens when we go ride Swinley Forest?
Nothing.
Yeah, we did do that the other day.
Yeah, and it's
fine.
Fine. Is it enjoyable?
I think so. It's easy.
All right, then
Still
the question leads itself to you, Rob.
200.
Jesus.
Too much.
Right, let me hear me out, right? Because I can make my 200 bike feel like a 130, 140, right? put a little bit more air in the shock, put a token in there.
Yeah, but-
and I can ride that round Swinley Forest, which is, we can see Swinley Forest from the studio.
No, we can't.
It's-
But then
it's just
again,
over
so
there,
like
yeah.
there's the downhill 200 mil travel, which is like a downhill bike, which is wallowy and you can't actually climb that well.
No, it's
but
not.
you're talking like a 200 mil, like a Sony or what, something that has even an e-bike. I've ridden the Husqvarna downhill bike. You couldn't pedal it up certain technical climbs because it was such a downhill style bike in terms of geometry and kinematics. But you can get a 200 mil free ride e-bike with steeper, more modern geometry, which will feel so different on the trails because the kinematics means the suspension ramps up quicker. You're sitting less in the mid-stroke and more at the top of the travel, so it doesn't feel as...
So that's what I'm talking about. Something like that that's got sorted geometry. Like the Kenevo 180 was brilliant to ride anywhere. The Sony is 200 and it feels so good to... So the point I'm trying to make is I can tune that to ride anywhere and be really comfortable. I can feel like a magic carpet on a enduro track. I can ride it to the shops. I can commute to the office. But good luck riding your 130 mil like bone shaker down a...
Controversial though. Like I would ride a 130, 150 bike at Dovey. I would ride it in the Alps. Like I was living in New Zealand. I was living in Queenstown, and my first bike that I had for the first season I was there was a Banshee Spitfire. So that's 160, 150. I mean, to be fair, it snapped in half because I was riding at the bike park every day, but the travel wasn't the issue.
Well, hold on, it just snaps in half.
Yeah.
That's
I was
an
thinking,
issue.
do we want to mention that or do we?
Yeah, that's fine. No, like it happened. But again, I was, the warranty's done. I'm not going to get penalised for it now. They replaced it for me. It was great. They
Did
were
you
really
tell
good.
them what you were doing with it?
Yeah, I said I was riding, and they knew where I lived. And it's again, Banshee, one of those gnarly, hardcore kind of brands where it's like they look a bit more like a steel girder, so you'd expect it to cope with it. Hey ho, but it was fine. That bike, I didn't need all the travel. It was just certain places you're not going to be as fast, but it's almost like give me any travel. But when you go to 200 mil, that's downhill bike. That's like a whole different type of bike. It's riding a downhill bike you could run a 190 mil travel front and rear bike, and then you run a downhill bike, and they're completely different.
Yeah. I'm talking about not a downhill bike, like just a bike with sorted geometry and a decent pedal kinematic and a decent, proper full range cassette. That there aren't many of them, but every time I ride a longer travel e-bike, like I'm like, this feels so nice. And you've been riding, Will, the
Megawatt.
yeah, which is
proof megawatt.
what's that? That's a one.
It's
that is-
170,
yeah,
both. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I think it is. Yeah, how's it been?
Yeah, I've only been on 2 rides so far. Thanks for the loan, by the way. But yeah, it's an XXL, which I've never ridden an XXL before. It is long, but
It looks a bit like a fridge as well.
it does.
doesn't
We
it?
keep saying that, don't we? It's white.
So white.
I was going to say, is it the white thing or is it? I was like, I've never thought that.
I call
myself.
it I affectionately refer to it as the fridge.
You don't have to affectionately anymore. I mean, unfortunately, nuke-proof aren't
No,
existing.
they're no longer. But yeah, it's a sorted bike though, isn't it? Really?
Definitely, it rips. Yeah, but it is heavy-ish and very long. It's like a boat, basically, canal boat.
But that's geometry, because like right now you're referring to the weight, and it's like longer forks, bigger travel will add more weight, but that's not the key part of the travel. Like a longer travel bike doesn't have to be heavier bike, does it?
No,
like arguably you want a lightweight, longer travel bike. So I think it's quite interesting in terms of like, I guess your focus is more on the weight than it is on the travel.
Yeah, definitely. It's a mixture of both, I would say. But that bike is too heavy for me, in my opinion. Like
It's not even that heavy.
it's 25
Is
kg
it?
in XXL.
Did you weigh it?
I looked up the medium is 24 kg.
And then you
So I'm
add
guessing it's about 25ish.
200 to 400 grams per size.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's a decent weight for a heavyweight e-bike, isn't it? Like it's pretty.
Heavyweight e-bike.
But sorry, a normal e-bike. Sorry,
Full fat.
full fat e-bike. Yeah, it's like a standard-ish weight.
Yeah.
But I just think it's too much.
Yeah.
I can't with my skinny arms. I can't handle it around the Surrey Hills. I don't need it.
I guess to be honest, it's like almost all long travel full powered bikes will be heavy, whilst a short travel full powered bike doesn't necessarily have to be heavy, but it can be.
Yeah, short travel, full power bike. Yeah, but like suspension travel doesn't weigh anything.
No,
Like, does it really? Like,
No,
it's,
but
it's just space. It doesn't weigh anymore.
depends if you've got a coil. I mean, then you're adding physically more
A little
material.
bit, but like a 150 Fox 38 versus a 180 is the same weight.
But we're talking 38.
Yeah.
You know, you might get an all-bear rise, whatever it might be, a shorter travel e-bike spec with a Pike, a 34, arguably less a 34 nowadays, but more a 36. And there's
Bone shaker.
bone shake. You just haven't got your setup dialed.
Can
That's
I
what I'm
just-
saying. Like 130 can feel endless on the back if you set it up
I
right.
do not.
I
no way.
I
No
ride
chance.
at 130 every week basically, and I took my 150 mil to Dovey last year because you mentioned Dovey,
Yeah.
and it is possible, but it's horrible. Like you can't.
I don't know about possible. Okay, and
Horrible. Possible, but horrible.
But
this is
there's
going to be bad.
pros. You have to keep up if you're trying to keep. If you're riding with like, there's so many techie.
If I'm
people,
riding with Dan
locals,
Atherton, you know,
yeah,
as I do.
You can't keep up with them. They're just gone if they're on anything other than like over 170, 180 mil. You just can't. You can't hack it basically.
Yeah, agreed. And like that's a really valid point. Is that speed? I'm not expecting to keep up on a down, and arguably the difference on the climbs between a long travel and a short travel e-bike isn't going to be nearly as much as the difference on a descent.
0, I would say.
Yeah.
In fact, in some instances, a long travel can climb faster.
Because you're getting more grip and control
Yeah.
on the technical climb.
Yes, you're probably slower down and up.
I just like riding slowly then. No, there's a time and a place. And I guess for me, not knowing maybe I'm not the fastest rider or maybe not the best rider in the world, I
Don't
have a
say
lot.
that. You are the best.
Thank you.
You should believe it.
If I was sponsored by Specialized. But arguably, I think you can have a lot more fun and playful. I think this is something that really gets overshot and overlooked when it comes to bikes. Is playful kind of gets put as like, oh yeah, that's just a fun word to throw on a bike, and it's hard to define playful because it means different things to different people. But your Stumpy, that's playful.
Even though it's an XL.
It's still
and 500 mil reach
still
and
playful.
long wheelbase.
Yeah.
And arguably, like a World Cup downhill track, you're not going to be as fast, but it really puts you in the mindset of like, where do I find my lines? Like,
Yeah.
you can ride Dovey, you can ride things. You might not. You have to think a bit more. You're going to be a bit more fatigued for the rest of the day, but you really sharpen in terms of like, oh, I'm going to take the high line there. Or I can, if I'm going to hit this berm, you really have to be conscious of go in high, come out low, and it just feels like it forces you into remembering the fundamentals of riding.
Yeah.
Going to end up in the hospital, I think, if taking a 130 to Dovey. I'm just saying.
That's a good episode, isn't it?
But yeah, we can go.
yeah.
You can fund the trip, Rob, and
Yeah.
we'll go to Dovey.
That's a good experiment. You've already signed
I'll
up.
do it.
you're
I'll
in
do it.
trouble
I'm
now,
not going to
bro.
go hit the Oakley drop, but I will go and do
Oh,
it.
yeah, hold on.
You have to.
I'll do the lower one.
To be fair, I wouldn't do that on a 200.
Well, okay. So the thing is, like, I think it's good to test this because it's always good to put the proof behind the pudding, as it were.
The Recharged podcast is sponsored by the Electric Bike Shop, the e-bike specialists. They've been selling e-bikes since 2017 from their first store in Bristol. And since then, they've rapidly grown from that single shop to now 10 stores across the UK with more planned for 2024. The Electric Bike Shop supply a host of major e-bike brands, plus a ton of parts and accessories in stock. The Electric Bike Shop are highly reviewed by real customers, and they've achieved an excellent status on Trustpilot.com with hundreds of reviews. They offer free UK delivery, highly competitive pricing with price matching. They take part in the Cycle to Work scheme, and they carry literally thousands of e-bikes in stock for quick delivery. They also offer test rides where you can get hands-on with the bike so you can try different sizes. There's really nothing like getting on a bike and trying out the size for real to make sure you get the right bike size for you. So check them out at theelectricbikeshop.co.uk, where you can see the range, or you can even book a test ride direct from their website at one of their 10 nationwide stores. Thanks again to the Electric Bike Shop for sponsoring the Recharged podcast. But you bring up a really good point, and it's about fun. And for me, fun is smashing through a big rock garden and being clipped in and just allowing the bike to kind of float over and feeling like I'm really comfortable. And that's fun to me. Whereas fun to you might be like feeling like you're getting blown around a bit, like being able to like shroud into the berms and things. It depends on what you enjoy, doesn't it? I think.
And I guess there's part of me that is like, I'm a park rat at heart in terms of I just like big, wide, smooth tracks and I can hit big jumps and things like that. And steep technical stuff I can do, but it's not my, like, that wouldn't be my go-to. I'll happily hit it. I do enjoy it. But if you said to me you could only ride one type of trail, it'd be like flow trail with big jumps. It's a bike park and you don't need travel for that.
No.
That's the thing. I could essentially be riding a slopestyle or a jump bike and it would be fine.
But this is your forever bike, and
Yeah.
I'm surprised you've chosen a 130, 140.
No, 150.
150.
150 up front
All right.
and 140, 130 out back. I got to
No,
choose one of the other.
you've got to
130.
No, you've already bumped it up.
130, 150. All right. Oh, that's me done. 130,
Are
150.
there any 130, 150 travel e-bikes?
Let's have a look.
Do any exist?
There definitely is.
I think there's a...
It's like if I could get like a Canyon Spectral 125, that kind of thing, where
Yeah.
it's a aggressive geo but short travel, and it's compatible with putting a 150 fork on
yeah.
all day.
I think there's a Focus VAM squared. It's kind of new. It's like a... I think
Is that
might
lightweight,
be, that might
though?
be too long travel for you. No, it is a lightweight. It's a lightweight. I think it might be a 140. So yeah, that's out of your range.
But he doesn't want lightweight anyway, does he? You don't?
No, you want full fat. Yeah, it
Heavyweight.
probably doesn't exist. But
Here you go, Canyon Neuron on. I could put a 140 fork on there, or something equivalent where I don't mind putting a longer travel fork on a bike that's a 130, 140, because it's not going to throw geometry out too much.
But you'll void your warranty though, bro. And I don't think you want that, do you?
no, you don't. No.
Put the original forks back in.
It's got to be-
Whichever
okay.
brand it is, don't listen now,
Relax.
please.
Relax.
Yeah. So yeah, I always tell people to just get a long travel bike. So it's good to hear your opinions on it. And I think like the 170 is for me, like I would minimum recommend that. And then if you can get a 180 like the Crest Line or a Knievo or even bigger, it's so versatile, so much more versatile. Unless you want to be living on the edge and go for something smaller to ride at Dovey.
It makes you
Good
feel
luck.
wild. It makes things feel a lot more wild than they are. But I'd argue, and the problem is, I've come from longer travel bikes. I've come from a bike park background. I've come from that side of things, and I guess I went from 130 up to like a 180 bike, and now I'm working my way back down. And it doesn't feel like the travel is the issue. Anyway, I've just had a quick look over 130, 150 bike, Pivot Shuttle SL. Probably it's super light, so it's going to be a lightweight. But
Yeah.
there's a few options.
We can bulk it out. We've got some extra weight we could put on it.
There's definitely got.
Fat, heavy tires,
Camera bag.
camera bag.
Will the audience allow me to concede and do a 140 rear bike if we can
No.
only find a 140,
No,
150?
we're going to limit that travel somehow. We're going to put a spacer.
Oh, we can put
in it.
spacer in there. Yeah, you could put a volume limiter on there. That's fine. Yeah, go for that.
You have to. That's
Because that makes it even more versatile. Even on my long travel bikes, I set them up like a 130 bike where I just run it, loads of volume spaces, really firm.
Yeah.
But then if worse
So
comes
why
to
not
worse,
then just get a long travel bike anyway, and then you can.
I've shot myself in the foot. I really shot myself in the foot. No, because the option is that I can do that, but I don't need to. And that's what I kept on finding is I was setting up long travel bikes like a short travel bike. And I kept on doing it because the geometry was right, but I didn't need loads of travel. I just needed something that was, I guess, there if I needed it. So I don't mind going and making adjustments on the back if needs be. That's not the issue. I can set it so it ramps up quickly. But again, it depends on what, you know.
Do you know what I think we're going to find over the next couple of years? Like bike travel is increasing. Like, it seems every year the next generation of bike is 10 mil longer in travel. So I think it's going to be harder and harder to find these short travel full power bikes. Like I genuinely do. So you ain't got long left to get your.
So do you think that short travel will always be associated with lightweight and
Yeah.
low power?
Yeah, I do think so.
Do we not find that we're going to get into a point where there's no such thing as a low power e-bike?
Yeah, I mean, kind of brings us on to the next topic. Nice
Quite
segue
nicely,
there.
yeah.
Mate. It's almost like you planned that. Maybe you did.
I genuinely
very
didn't.
good.
I went, but light bulb moment.
So, yeah, because interestingly, there's some different categories emerging, isn't there, of power bikes and weight bikes and where they all sit. So in my head, I see there's three kind of categories now: full power, full fat. Like to your point, 25 kgs, 24, 25 kg.
A real bike.
Is like a standard like Bosch powered enduro style. It's about 24 and a half, 25 kgs. Lighter if you spend a lot of money, but that's the kind of baseline I would
Yeah.
say. Then you got the SL super light bikes on the like lighter weight side. So TQ, those kind of things.
TQ,
Levo, Fazua, which are like 17 to 18 kgs.
Depends how
How much you spend,
let's just say below 18.
Below 18.
Because I think you can go down the danger hole route where it's like a 12.6 kilo again, fully custom.
That's not included. So I would say, around 18 kgs for like a TQ and then you've got like this newer breed of mid power, like 20 kg, like the new Mondraker. So the Mondraker Dune that just came out, which is using the Bosch SX motor. But then there's the Cannondale, which is
Matera SL.
which is like the full power Shimano motor, but with in a lightweight build. So,
and that's an interesting thing because it's kind of two approaches. Do you go less on the power and more on the battery capacity, or do you go more on the battery capacity and less on the power?
Also, when you say lightweight build, you're talking about like 34 fork and
no.
You're just talking about
It's just the weight of the bike.
Oh.
What even is a lightweight bike though? It's funny, isn't it? That's what I mean. They're kind of blurring into this whole, like, what is a lightweight bike? Is it just sub 20 kgs as a lightweight bike now?
I think Will hit on something interestingly, and then what we just spoke about a minute ago was like, is now the market is being flooded and there's e-bikes aren't just e-bikes. You don't just, I'm just buying an e-mountain bike. It's like you're buying a category within that. And those categories aren't enduro, this and that. They're not the classic iterations of what we'd see in normal mountain biking. Do we then think that that's going to start happening where lightweight will always be associated with short travel? Mid will always be associated with your 140 to 160, say, and then anything longer will be full.
I think it's going to change. I think it will be weight still.
You don't think it's going to be travel?
No, because I think you'll still see lightweight short travel and lightweight long travel bikes. But what I do think is that the lower powered bikes will start disappearing almost.
Yeah,
because like you've got this Shimano motor and these examples of you can still get you can almost have your cake and eat it. You can almost have all of the power. It's the battery, man. The battery weighs the majority of the weight.
I want to get your opinions on this because as soon as we said lightweight, you're like, oh, what are we talking about? Components?
Yeah,
that's a really interesting angle because we wouldn't think that, would you?
No, I just think weight.
Yeah, some frame material, some way of integrated battery, that kind of thing that drops the weight down.
Yeah, we've got to run a single speed.
Yeah, exactly. You're thinking of like the different ways to reduce weight that don't include a battery or a motor.
36 instead of a 38 and stuff like that, right? Because maybe not 34. Bit too far for me.
Just watch it bend back to the frame.
Yeah, I don't know. What other ways are there? What else can you do?
The biggest thing is the battery. Yeah. Like if the big Bosch battery weighs 4.4 kilos.
But that's a 750 watt
750, but then
like a newborn baby.
Probably is.
Wait, I don't know.
It probably. Here's your newborn, so 750.
You've just had a Bosch 750. Oh, so we're all so happy.
Will's classification for baby weight is in watt hours. So, and I know you prefer, from talking to you, I think you would prefer like a lighter weight bike anyway, wouldn't you? Regardless of the travel, because your riding style, maybe I think given the choice, you would perhaps go for a much lighter category of bike. Given that nuke-proof megawatt that you're riding, 170, 25 kgs, what would you do to make that more that bike?
No, cut it in half maybe. Cut a section out of it. I think I don't need that power really.
Okay.
I think for the weight of me, like 70 kg, I'm happy with. Well, when I was on that Canevo SL and the Levo SL, what are they, 35 newton meters?
Yes.
The old one, the Gen 1.
Yeah.
And that was, I was fine. I rode that for like 2 years and it wasn't a problem.
You could just run it in Eco.
Yeah, but then it's still too heavy, isn't it? It doesn't solve the problem.
So it's the weight, not the power. But you said it was too much power.
No, but I'm saying that's how I could solve the problem. I don't need all that. I don't need the crazy battery life and the crazy power.
You don't necessarily need the power, but the power, the weight is the main thing. So if you could have like a 18 kilo 170,
yeah, that's a sweet spot.
Would you take that over the heavier bike then?
Hell yeah. Well, because I rode, I'm not trying to do a load of specialized shout outs here, but I was on that Canevo SL, even the Gen 1, and that's 170, and even with 35 newton meters, it's still like, because I hadn't been riding. I think if you've been riding full power for like ages, and then you go down to 35 Newton meters, you're like, I need more.
Weak as.
Yeah, but if you start on 35, coming from a normal bike, or what do they call it, acoustic bike?
Nah, we're not using that phrase. We're going to call them regular pedal bikes.
Can we beep that?
Yeah, well, hold on. We haven't used your sound bank yet.
Yeah, where's the beep? Oh, hold on.
Oh, suspense is killing me.
Okay, someone say acoustic bike.
I've got an acoustic.
Shit, I just oh, that's what I do.
It's all right, you beeped your swear word as well. I'm going to ride an acoustic. That worked.
It worked.
Yeah, swearing's fine,
No,
but
swear
we don't say that word.
Swear.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh,
It didn't work. Oh.
well, I didn't press it.
What else have you got on that box of stuff over there?
I've got an applause if
Yeah.
we say anything good.
Heavy e-bikes with long travel are the best.
I've got crickets for if.
Lightweight e-bikes are the best.
God, Robbie, you've got it nailed.
I've got some what's chimes? Oh,
The big reveal.
Nice.
This is the big reveal for Rob's gold on gold Fox 38s.
yeah, nice. I think I need to get. Well, maybe we'll stop.
I
doing
like
that.
it. I like it.
I need to
I
work
like
on
the we'll bring out the baby voice for Adam as well. at
Oh
some
yeah.
point.
Oh yeah. We'll save that.
Maybe next time.
That's
But
exciting.
so you would choose a 170, 18 kilo bike to ride, like that would be your ideal.
I mean, if it
ideal
could
bike.
be a bit lighter, I wouldn't mind. 17, maybe.
Really? But do you not find that it gets to a point where it's too light? Because I do. I think when it gets to a certain like weight, there are actual downsides to riding. I genuinely believe. So I've been riding some lightweight bikes recently. In fact, the whole market seems every bike coming out recently is lightweight, it seems. But I find they're actually slower going down and going up. So I'm like, what happens if I would put some extra weight on this bike? I think I'd be faster, especially over like the rocks and the roots and the chunk. But maybe in the corners, maybe pushing into the corners, they're a bit more wallowing, a bit slower. But I just find them, I don't know.
Predictable.
What, a heavier bike?
The heavier bike, yeah.
Heavier
Because I was
yeah.
about to agree with you and say I've started to really enjoy. I not started to. I enjoy the weight. For example, I use the example of when I went to Dovey the first time. I took my YT Deco at the time, and that's a heavy, full-powered 170 wheel,
Like 24 kgs.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I was going into some of the jumps, and I don't know if anyone's ever been to Dovey. Super Swooper and 50 hits. So you're the first two jumps. There are two lines, and they're all jump lines. And the thing is, they're tables, but you can't see the landing. Going on that e-bike, taking off, the bike compresses so well, you don't need to load it or really be conscious of how you're taking off and how you're in the air. The bike and the weight and the balance of it just took off, and I knew I could kind of land no matter what, and I would be okay. It would be stable. I wouldn't get bucked off. I wouldn't get hit. It would be predictable, be comfortable, be more, yeah, just more. It felt safer.
Yeah, I
It's
totally
weird.
agree. And I find lightweights way more work to keep them balanced and to keep them not like, okay, let me give you an example. In Triscombe in the southwest, there's a couple of nice techie downhill tracks. And I rode the Kenevo 180 that I converted into a 29 dream bike. Please specialize, make one. Like, it's
Dream
it's-
bike.
Yeah. It's such a good bike, and going down, it's fantastic. And I rode it on a downhill kind of track and then an enduro-y type track. And I built a Trek Fuel EXE, and I put an Öhlins 170 fork on, and the rear, I put an
Tiny.
Öhlins coil on it, and it worked out like, I don't know, let's say it was 170-ish. But it was way slower on all the tracks going down because I found I got deflected and pinged off, and I couldn't just...
I was going to ask if it was because of the deflection and pinging.
it was that. The bike was getting thrown around quite a bit. Imagine like a speedboat in choppy water versus like a cruise ship kind of blasting through it. That's what it felt like to me. So I was like, well...
But so you touched on something quite interesting there in that how much does Will weigh? How much do you weigh?
Yeah.
How much do I weigh? And it's almost like suspension on an e-bike is quite active because you've got that initial activation weight where just the weight of the bike is sitting on the suspension. So you're probably sitting in like 5 mil of travel or something like that. If you're like me, 100 kilos, you're using the travel and the bike's working to your favor, you know? the way the suspension set up is aimed at probably like depending on the size, like an 80 kilo person. So the suspension's working for me. You're getting thrown around, I'm assuming, because you turn in a corner and the bike is going and throwing you one way. And then Rob, you're probably like manufacturer's dream ideal weight for suspension. They get the nitrogen preload in the cartridge for your weight. You are the average.
Dream man.
And so, dream man, he's taken.
Yeah, you keep calling me that, but you don't need to
What
keep.
do you mean?
He's taken Will.
Just a disclaimer, I don't keep calling Rob.
So here we go, right? Maybe you're onto something. Maybe there is it's not about like categories of bikes and what is it? Maybe it is all about your weight, your rider weight. And I just was doing some quick calculations then. So you're 100 kgs, right?
Yeah, there and thereabouts.
So, and you feel more comfortable on a heavier bike.
I thought you were going to say something. You feel comfortable being that big. So not particularly.
Built like muscular build.
Yeah, it's not fat. No, I feel more comfortable on a heavier bike.
Right. So
I'd say
Will,
like 24 kilos is ideal.
all right. So Will, you are 70.
70, yeah.
Okay. I think I've found this golden ratio of what you should be aiming for based on your weight. And I'm going to see if mine's the
This
same.
sounds like a dictatorship now. It's like
What?
you're not allowed to choose what bike you have.
No.
You just get
Here we
told
go.
you're this weight, you have this travel and this
So
weight bike, and
if
that's
you
all you can
divide
get.
your kg, your weight in kilos by 4, it's going to give you like an ideal weight of bike you should ride based on a poll of 3 people. So don't take this as fact, but just like, so
That's like COVID numbers, isn't it? They're like the success rate was 100% on the vaccine because they had to test 2 people and one person was fine, the other one wasn't.
probably.
Yeah, so
Probably.
tested survey of 3 people.
So your ideal bike weight is coming out at 25.
Yeah, sounds pretty
Right.
good.
Will, yours is coming out at 17.5.
Oh, that sounds
kg.
lovely. That does sound good.
And mine is going to come out at 21.25.
I mean,
That does seem a bit light. I might need
does
to.
it?
A bit light? What are you talking about?
Honestly, I might add more weight onto it.
Oh, like they're doing World Cup racing. Add some-
Sandbags.
No, what do they do? They add
They put like lead to the
Yeah.
bottom of the
Actual
frame.
leads, yeah.
Do you know what I'd do? I'd probably get it like that and maybe put like downhill casing tires on it.
So
And-
basically, you've said you've got the ratio, you've got the perfect calculation, but it's not right for you.
Yeah, it's not right, is it?
Because again, you're saying, oh, I'll just add more weight and it'll be fine.
To be honest with you, it's been a while since I've ridden a full power e-bike that weighs 21.25 kgs.
Yeah.
They're
Going
do
less.
they exist?
It's weird now because it's like you're just saying about lightweights being the popular thing. This is how I'm going to focus in on the minutiae. It's like, yes, I felt like for the past year, it's been lightweight. Every brand has to have one ticked on the box for the sake of having one. But I'd argue to say, like with the Cannondale Moterra SL and a lot of these Bosch SX bikes, like the Mondraker, it's kind of leaning into lightweight but full powered. So it's moving away from lightweight needing the necessity of less motor option. So the question I have for Will, our resident regular bike user, is
Regular pedal bike.
would you, if the weight was reduced,
Yeah.
say for example this nuke-proof megawatt, if the weight was reduced, but the battery and the motor retain the same weight and power, would that be an issue? Because you can obviously just dial back the power down, but it's almost something that you don't even want the option.
If the weight of the bike was reduced.
So in an ideal world, in an environment where that bike is 17.5 kilos,
Yeah.
but nothing changes on it in terms of spec and battery size and motor size, would that be better for you than a lightweight one with less power?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's the best of everything, isn't it? It's
And
the
it
best.
seems like that's the logic of the industry now going, well, we can get bikes that are sub 20, arguably, that don't lose battery
Yeah.
power or don't lose motor torque and wattage. They're more focusing on reducing battery size.
I think we're going to see way more of that. I think we're going to see the sub 20 kg bikes with up to full power and just the smaller battery,
yeah.
like smaller 400. Like what's the Bosch SX is 400.
400 is the power tube, and then you get 250 watt range extenders.
So
I think
you can
is
then
that?
have like so that's 650.
Yeah, even Thoc did it. Thoc did a prototype bike that we saw at Eurobike that had the ability to put on like 5 range extenders or something stupid. So essentially you could get, it was modular battery system provided by Bosch rather than their own brand thing when you have to click them together. It's just like you could fit 5 or 4 range extenders on a bike at one time, and that was cool. But then it kind of felt like it was defeating the point of a light mid-weight motor.
Yeah. But it's good to have the option. So I think that's what we'll see more of, these like lighter weight, low power disappear and have the lightweight but up to full power, and you can just tune it and just have less power if you want, but you've got it. If you need it, it's there. It's available. Do you agree?
I think if I looked at myself 5-10 years ago and said, where do you think the industry's going? The whole talk was, how can we get the same power with reducing weight and size? Seems like that's still the message and the aim. That's what everyone wants. You know, you want your cake and eat it, right? So why would you have less power if you didn't need to?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So you can have up to the full power and just tune it, and then you've got the turbo if you want it.
130 out back, 150 up front, primed.
Nothing
else needed.
Full power
750 watt hour battery and a full power 95 newton meters of torque. Let's go, baby.
Bike doesn't exist.
Oh. No, you're right.
There is a market out there.
Bike companies, come at me. I'll give you the geo numbers. Let's get this happening.
You got a definite audience of one here.
Yeah, I think I sit in the majority of the three people demographic here in terms of what bike they choose. Lightweight, long travel.
Well, what were you saying?
I was going to say full power is what, over 80 newton meters?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
85.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
What's the full power that's less than 85?
Well, no, but
84.
yeah. But no, I agree. But is that the defining thing? Because then you get lightweights that are still full power but less battery. One can't be exclusive. It's not that it's mutually exclusive, but it's...
Yeah, but I would classify a full power bike by what is available out there in terms of motor
75
right now.
newton meters though, with like the Shimano EP600.
Nah.
I'd still say that's full power. And is it newton meters or is it wattage?
Both.
way to throw the conversation off.
But the EP6 is a bit more niche, isn't it? It's on like the it's not on many bikes, or
it's
if
a price
it is,
point bike.
It's on a full power bike, but it's a way of making it a bit
More
cheaper.
affordable, yeah.
Whereas I think the majority of the full power bikes are coming with like an 85 Shimano, Bosch, Yamaha. Yamaha's 80, is it? 80?
Well, variable now. If you go to the Giant systems,
Is it?
you can get a variable torque output. You can adjust
Yeah.
it with the app. So yeah, again, that's 80.
I bet if we revisit episode 1 in like 2 years, there's no 50 or not many under like 55, 60 lightweights, and the majority are smaller batteries but up to the full power. That's my hot take.
That's very optimistic that you think the podcast is going to run for 2 years.
Mate, I've bought 2 years worth of cups. So
Yeah, that's the timeline.
Yeah.
Around paper cups.
That's how we're judging the success
Yeah,
of the podcast.
show the
is
cup.
how many of these cups we've got a box up there of like, I don't know, 300, 200 or whatever.
And they're all recyclable, we should just say.
Yeah, of course.
Reusable.
Reusable.
Will's our sustainability manager
Oh,
here.
yes.
He makes sure that everything's in line, and we're making sure we're doing everything by the book.
Yeah.
Cardboard everything.
That's why I don't own a carbon bike.
Is it?
No, I do own. Oh, sorry. Next question.
But to be
That's
fair,
why I don't own it.
You bought it used. You upcycled
I've repurposed it, yeah, from-
rebuilt it.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
I'm
say
going to
that.
throw an
Yeah.
even bigger spanner in the works then. This is a random topic that's come in, is carbon is more sustainable in some terms than aluminium. It was repairability. You can repair a carbon frame, you can't repair an aluminium frame.
But you can recycle. Aluminium's infinitely recyclable,
Yeah.
arguably. Maybe not infinitely because you're going to lose some with the process,
Yeah.
but it's your carbon bike that you repair. It
Yeah.
has a lifespan, whereas that recycled aluminium. There's a whole show
The aluminium
here.
as far as like the material, but yeah, we won't delve into this topic just yet.
It's definitely one for the future.
I think so,
episode.
yeah.
All right, so yeah, is sub 20 kgs lightweight? Yeah. Will more high power lightweights come out? Definitely. I see that's the way the market's going. So
I think they're just going to have different names. It's not going to be it's not going to be about the weight. It's going to be about the application and the power.
yeah,
Because like you said,
it's
yes,
the battery tech as well. The 5.6 amp hour, or there's a newer type of cell
Yeah.
that is more
Large.
energy dense.
Yeah.
So you can create a much lighter, like 400 watt hour battery, and it's the energy density. If you can get over I think like the gold standard is like over 200 watt hours per kilo. You're on a good. Yeah, you're getting towards a lightweight battery pack if you can kind of achieve that.
And so far, the only people we know currently who've achieved that is Bosch, right?
Bosch are doing it. There's some more coming out.
Okay, cool.
Not yet reveal.
Oh, top secret stuff.
Press the chimes.
Oh. Wait, that's not a chimes.
That's not very mysterious. No.
It needs to be. What else have you got on that box thing?
So basically the technology is becoming into the mainstream.
The tech is there. But the battery packs, the cells are way more expensive. So the cell price is like 50% more expensive. And the battery pack that you get as a result of that gives you around 16% more watt hours.
So it's not in direct correlation to you pay more, you get more.
Yeah. So 50% more, but you're getting 16% gains really. But if people want ultra lightweight, high powered bikes with decent sized batteries, that's the cost.
You can't get a cheap lightweight e-bike, can you? They don't exist. Kind of the argument is that you want lightweight, you spend more money.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there you go. It's coming up to race season. We've got Fort William World Cup coming up soon, and then we've got a whole load of racing and EDR and EEDR. Right? I really tried to get into.
Sorry, what was that? What was the last one?
What? EEDR.
Oh, EE.
Or I don't know if it's EDRE or if it's EEDR. I think
I still call it
EDR.
EWSE.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever the acronym is, it's e-bike racing, which is something that I'm kind of really interested in, but it's becoming ridiculously difficult to watch as a spectator and even as a fan. And I remember last season trying to get live updates as to what was happening in the racing, because there was a team that I was following and I really wanted to try and understand how the team was doing live in the result. And the only way I could get live results was to go onto a website and get like a teletext style update of results. And I was like, this is like
terrible.
It feels like going back to, Will, you probably won't remember teletext.
No, I do.
You do remember teletext?
Yes, please. 27. I do.
I'm 27.
Right. So going onto a web, and it was ridiculously difficult. And I was like, there must be a better way of this. And obviously the logistics of filming racing in the middle of nowhere is really, really difficult. And there's loads of different videos that I've watched on this kind of topic. But is e-bike racing ever going to be a spectator sport? And I think that in the current format that it's in, it's going to be so difficult to make this something that you can watch both at the venue and live. At the venue, if you're at an EDR race, it's over such a big area. It's you might see one corner and you might see a whole load of people going through one corner and then have to get on your phone and go to this teletext style website to see what the race is.
Not a great experience.
In contrast to a World Cup downhill, which is everyone's at the finish line or on the track on the side, and you can see what's happening. You've got massive screens with all the results and the video replays being shown.
It's set up for that. There is an event village. It's set up as a spectator sport. You know, Fort William has the biggest turnout of any of the World Cup downhill races throughout the whole season because of the facilities and the ability they have for people to get on the hill.
And it seems like there's a lot of theatre to it, right? There's a lot going on. There's a defined finish. There's a rider come in.
That's it's all down to this golden moment. It's a singer on a stage, and that's your one chance to perform.
And the faster riders coming down next because they've qualified with a faster time. So in theory, like the potential for that next person to be quicker is high because they've already proved it in qualifying. So the format as a spectator to be there, I've never been, by the way, but to be there, I should imagine is incredible. But to watch it is fantastic as well. Whereas the current format of not even e-bike racing, but enduro racing is virtually impossible to watch and film and televise and make it succinct enough and to be as exciting as what is demonstrated with the World Cup downhill. So, like, do you watch e-bike racing? Are you interested in it?
The thing is, exactly as you said, I would always be interested in results. Same with the EWS, because you can't, EDR, you couldn't really watch it on hand. But I'd argue to say that a lot of that watching and that enjoyment on the day or around it came from the riders themselves. Like there was self-coverage, you watch Jack Moyer on Moi TV and you're getting better coverage of those races on the side of the track because they're there. I don't think enduro lends itself to being a spectator, unfortunately, because the space it covers and the athletic needs in terms of you're not just doing a downhill run, you're not doing one place, you're going over a long hill over a long day, and arguably having a bunch of people walking the however many kilometre route you've got isn't going to be an enjoyable day for a majority of people, which kind of makes me think that it's the format that's the issue, not the ability of being able to record it. Well,
I was just trying to think of how you could solve that.
I got some ideas.
Oh, really?
Drones.
No.
Why
Well,
not?
yeah, but no.
Loads of drones, just thousands of drones.
Do you know, I think that there is a way of making e-bike racing, like the entire format changing, and I've been thinking about this. Right?
I've thought about this.
Have
I'm
you?
interested to see what you say because
I haven't thought about this at all, but go off.
No. I'm going to see if you say call my bluff.
Here is what I would do. If I was able to come up with a concept of how to make this exciting to watch as a spectator and as a broadcaster, here's what I would do. Scrap the current format completely, right? And change it into something that's based on the ability to film it easily and watch it as a spectator. They're musts. Have you ever watched any cross-country racing?
Yeah, the
where
big
it's mass
big
start,
loop.
right?
Yeah.
Big loops, right? So imagine the loop. So instead of just like racing all over the place on random different courses.
Are you just going to describe cross-country e-bike racing? It's technically where it started.
Kind of similar. So you do loops of a track. So each track is like 5 kilometers. You do 4 loops, 20k, take like an hour or something, 25k maybe. But you've got big techie climb sections and you've got big techie descent sections and you've got some in-between stuff. It's mass start. So you have like 30 people at once. And I've raced the Mega Avalanche, and the most exciting thing with the Mega Avalanche is the qualifying. It's mass start, and it's so fun.
It's horrible. It's
not, man. It's so good.
In the last few years, the UCI have got some slack in terms of health and safety on the mountainside, and I think if mass start in a professional term might cross that line.
I haven't like completed this plan yet,
Okay,
so
right.
I'll have to consult some health and safety experts to refine this. But mass start, right? Maybe it's like slightly timed, so you get like a grid start. So let's say like it's F1 style grid start. 30 people on a grid, right? Go, siren sounds, they all set off at once, and you've got this like starting section, and you're going to do laps that are 5k each, and you've got like 3 or 4 different like really gnarly climbs, really gnarly descents. Not so gnarly they're uncompletable, but they're technical enough to make it exciting.
By the 4th, you're hanging on.
Yeah, and then you've got some like overtaking sections, and that in that format you can film. It's almost like an arena style.
So you want to get some nice wall rides in there. There's like that famous 4-cross overtake where he goes over the wall. Yeah, that would be quite exciting.
Something like that.
Okay,
You can have a drone
So
circulating.
it's arguably like a mix of 4-cross
mix of
and
4-cross,
cross-country.
cross-country, short course,
Enduro.
downhill, bit of climbing, bit of enduro, all of that on laps. And then you get a defined finish line, and whoever's winning, like that is so much easier to watch. It's more exciting because there's overtaking sections, there's like shoulder to shoulder racing.
Could it be done in a heat, like a tournament method? Because I think the problem is like too many people and it's just a pile up. One person doing a loop on their own that's timed to be really lonely, and there's no point of reference, and it would take
needs to be done. There needs to be some kind of qualifying, but maybe it's 50. Like if you look at the EWS E now or EEDR, whatever it is, there's like 50 people doing it. It's not a massive field of racers, but I don't see why you couldn't do it something like that. Which I would love to watch that. Imagine watching someone trying to choose which line they're going to do to overtake the other guy or girl on a climb or a downhill. And that would be much easier to televise, much easier, way more exciting to watch.
It makes it feel more like a team sport than an individual person, because the skills, it's not just pure athleticism. It's a lot of other things involved. I think it'd be quite cool. It's actually different to what I thought. So this is good. This is really good, because I'm like, okay, you've not stolen my idea.
I tell you what though, maybe we could like listen to your idea and we could amalgamate the two and come up with like the dream e-bike racing.
Because I don't think anyone's nailed e-bike racing yet. I don't think...
you were poised to go and put a siren in there, weren't you?
No, not the siren, just the chime. Every time you say dream.
Oh, it's dream. And it'll go fade off into a dream scene. But no, I think, like, how do you feel about like enduro racing format as well with spectators, regardless of e-bike? Because I doubt you. I don't know. Do you watch e-bike?
No, I
racing?
don't watch any racing now. I actually don't care. Really.
Cool. And how recent is that? Because I felt like in the last year with all the changes of Warner Brothers and this and the formats, I've stopped caring as much because there's so much politics with it.
I think actually I'm going to retract my statement. I do care depending on who's racing. I have some friends who are World Cup racers.
Luca Thurlow.
Yeah, and Preston Williams, for example. And
Henrik.
Yeah, anyone like that, if they're racing, I'll tune in for that. But for people that, just random people, and they're not going to care, obviously, but I don't need to watch them. Sometimes I'll watch a winning run because they're crazy, right? Like they get so loose.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tune in for like 2 hours.
That's really interesting because for me, it's like a majority of people who are mountain biking, it's like downhill sells bikes. You know, downhill that's the dream. That's your
I don't think it is though. I think that because we're enthusiasts, we're into it. But a lot of my mates that I ride with don't care about any of that.
That's the thing. Yeah, maybe I'm far too just like head into the bike industry in terms of working in shops and brands. Is that it's always like, you know, you're talking business, but then the things that break it up is being excited for downhill season. You know, I used to work for YT Industries, and at the mill, we would host downhill World Cup viewings, and we'd have a barbecue and beers, and it would be like a real thing. So it's quite exciting for that. It felt like an occasion, and we don't have many like occasions where all mountain bikers, everyone in the scene kind of gets together. There's not a football World Cup. There's not there's not those key events in the year, and it's not so ingrained in the everyday sports life of the UK or a lot of countries, to be honest. I think it's quite a nice occasion for like-minded people to come together, and you know, the majority of us nowadays don't ride downhill bikes.
So
but you're still very excited for how fast people can ride on a downhill bike.
You want to be able to go down a pub and watch World Cup.
God, really put me in. No, but
down a pub.
Go down a pub. But you know, same for e-bikes. It's like you're missing something on the sport. There's got to be a means of doing it. So,
and I like all of the technological kind of aspects to it as well. All these different manufacturers.
Race.
It's a bit like
and it's prototyping. It's see the prototype, and it's the testing of the bikes, and these are the people riding at the top level.
Yeah, and
this bike is just made purely to go down as fast as possible.
So it's not just about the riders; it's about the kind of tech side, the motors, the all of the tires, all of that. I'm kind of fascinated by, and I find that in the current broadcast, you see very little of that. We're not talking about, there is some in the commentary, to be fair, but I think there could be way more. So Red Bull, if you want to, so what's your kind of take on it then? How would you change it?
It's funny. I'm just going back to the point you just made though, which is quite interesting, is I've noticed there's quite a few e-bike specific projects with these technical things. So prototype race bikes, there's a calling for race e-bikes. So we've seen like the Schwalbe Gravity, the Rottweil Schwalbe Gravity Enduro team with Keelan Grant, who used to be on the Nuke Proof racing team. You know, and Orbea with the Shimano U-Lab. There's some cool projects, but they're not getting airtime in terms of at the races. They're just these media projects, film projects that go alongside and go, throughout the race season, it's describing the race season, but you just see odd clips here and there. And so you're just believing the video and the structure behind it, but you don't get that, I'm at the races and I'm seeing something that no one else has seen. The pits aren't there. It's not that environment. But anyway, my race for it, it'll be a quicker one. It's kind of a bit more of a merge of downhill than it is enduro, which is basically like one course, so very similar to yours, not a track as like a loop, but it's, for example, you're at the bottom of a mountain, technical climb all the way up to the top and one long downhill. And that's the race
I like
format.
that.
I like that.
You've got the technical climbs, it's exhaustion. Your battery focus is on that one big climb. So it's make it to the point where it's a challenge. And the downhill is that downhill
Mont
prowess.
Blanc.
And it's that one run.
You're going to go up Mont Blanc?
Yeah, straight up. But I was like, a plenty, you go in like a Leger to Plenty or something like that where it's long enough. Say it's a 7 to 8 minute course. It's not one rider at a time. Still same downhill format, still same digestion in terms of you can digest the run, you get to see the breadth of riders, but it's putting the e-bike in its correct context.
I do like that. That's that as a power stage to add into
to
my
this, yeah.
as a bonus round.
A bit dangerous, you think, not doing a massive climb and then going straight into it, or do you have a break at the top?
It's up to you. Well, this is
That'd
to be
crazy,
decided.
No,
Yeah, but
Like 2 hour climb up a mountain and then straight into a 2 hour.
this guy worrying about racing,
the only-
saying, is it dangerous? Brooke McDonald broke his back like a couple years ago and you're worried about this
but I'm
being
just
too
thinking-
dangerous.
Just that is a crazy climb to then go straight into a long downhill.
Mont Blanc is, it is. It's crazy.
The only problem that I see with that is that there's a massive advantage to lighter weight riders. So one of the things with the power stages is in the EDR is that the lighter riders have a massive power to weight advantage.
That's true.
So if you're like a 60 kg rider and you're on a bike that gives you 600 watts of power from the motor versus a 90 or an 80, a taller rider, so it's very difficult.
It's true,
so
yeah.
maybe what you have to do is when you get to the top, you have to do some bench press with overhead press with your bike.
Not good enough form. Do it again. No, hit those chimes. I've just had an idea. The dream with this goes down to your golden ratio. This is like you get the right bike to power ratio for your weight. So it's like boxing. You have a heavyweight category, a featherweight category. You get categorized for your power and your battery size relative to the weight you are. But that then requires scientific data.
All we need to do is get weights and stick them onto the bike.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're not,
Also, there's like
quite
an advantage. You get a handicap if you're lighter or if you're heavier.
Yeah, so if you haven't made the weight, you get these lead weights put onto your bike, so you're always at that 4 times golden ratio.
You could do it on your body, or you just wear a heavier helmet. No carbon helmets, something like that.
You get a weight suit. It's going to change the weight distribution. You're going to turn a corner, and your whole upper body is going to get thrown.
He's not
to the
in so
side.
much as his helmet's so heavy. He's got these massive neck muscles.
Before GoPros, when you used to stick a rod and a camcorder on a helmet.
Yeah, but the fact is that there's such an opportunity with e-bike racing, and it's not being exploited at the moment. And it's a real shame that we've got this emerging category that's only going to grow, but the format does not lend itself to watching basically there or on TV. It doesn't exist. And I did enjoy the recaps that were put out by like Pink Bike in the past and GMBN. I really enjoyed watching those. But they take time, and sometimes they're quite delayed after the fact for obvious reasons. They take a long time to compile and put together, and the moment's gone.
Yeah, I was going to say that you need the immediacy. It needs to be like the day or the day after,
or live. This lap thing of this short course can be broadcast live. There's no reason that can't be with strategically placed cameras and drones and that stuff. It is like, I mean, they broadcast short course cross country.
Yeah, and they do it well.
Yeah.
It's exciting, it's engaging, and you can see where riders are, you can see who they are and where they are.
It's obvious because this guy or girl is in front of this guy or girl. It's that the racing is not against the clock. It's against other riders, and that's what made the Mega Avalanche qualifying so exciting, because it is mass start. I'm going back to that again, but it was brilliant. It was kind of semi carnage, but it was so fun.
Are we just talking about motocross now? Is this just because I'm just thinking more and more stuff you say is
so
that's where I got some ideas from.
Rob's going Supercross A1 Anaheim.
How good is that as a spectator sport? Fireworks, all that stuff is going on.
T-shirt cannons. It's like it's a real US like we're having a party. Let's go for this.
Yeah. And then you get an enduro race. It's like one guy ripping a corner, and that's all you see. And then you see a teletext kind of results page, and you're like, oh, it's good.
Every so often you get that random French dude with a chainsaw on top of a tree is going through on broadcast, but that's a minor clip, and that guy's trekked up half the mountainside just to be on shot. Going, Yeah, it's a hard one because it's like, it's not enduro. So it's like, but I don't think e-bike has always been associated with enduro because it's that classic longer travel bike with power. You need to do ups and downs. There's no point in just doing a downhill section on an e-bike because it's, what's the point? You might as well ride a downhill
if we
bike.
ever get our way and get to design this race thing, you are on your 130, 140 bike.
Straight up.
Well, my 200.
In your format, it's just an XC race. I'll be primed.
No, this is
because then it's not just up and down. It's not technical climbs and technical descents. It's the in betweens as well, which a shorter travel bike's always going to be better.
No way. No, my long travel bike will definitely keep up with your short travel bike on the in betweens.
And this is the thing: is that does this then get pigeonholed into a travel thing, or can it be any travel, any bike?
Travel, all the travel, any travel, as much or as little as you want.
That makes it so much more exciting because some whippet like Will is going to come out on a 130, 150 bike and win it for the whole world.
No, he'd be riding a 170, 170.
Yeah. I'll be riding the
lightweight. He won't win then if he's riding a lightweight.
No, he won't.
You'll be on the Boost Monster. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
On YouTube, Jordan Boost Monster's 300 mil bike.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, get like an old set of Mazzocchi motocross style forks.
Now, what are those big forks called? They were like really famous, longest travel ones.
What bike forks?
Yeah, the one that he uses on that 300 mil.
Mazzocchi Monster.
It's like a Monster T.
Yeah, Mazzocchi Monster.
Longest travel.
To be fair, my favourite forks, which are 200 mil travel fork, are the Mazzocchi Shimmers from back in the day.
Super Monster.
Super Monster.
They're 12-inch, 30 centimeters. A foot Super Monster.
Probably quite an expensive. I guess they're pretty a classic now. So
yeah, but the thing is, are they the ones without the crown, so you can run whatever fork in them? Because otherwise, they're the 26 only.
Oh, whatever wheel.
Yeah, because the problem is they were always 26.
Yeah, because they were from the 90s, late 90s to early 2000s.
Yeah, they only had, you can only get 26 and 24 on the back.
That's
Specialized
fine.
Big Hit back in the day.
God, they're $2,000.
That's what I'm saying.
On the used market.
Classic.
Yeah.
Antique.
It's time for RockShox and Fox to up their travel game.
Yeah, I mean, they just need to make a really solid 38mm stanchion, 140 fork, and a really beefy, oversized coil shock.
It's definitely a market of one for that.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You're going to get lovely people join me and tell me, agree with me here. This is the way forwards.
I don't think it's
perfect timing.
You've been waiting
Comedic
to use
timing.
that all this show. Right. So talking of like forks and stuff, like, yeah, these Fox forks came out recently, and I went on a trip and I left these in here for Will to see, and he was like, these look so nice.
I cleaned them as well, you noticed?
Oh yeah.
They clean themselves down there.
Thank you.
That's right.
Cleaning them. So these are the new Fox 38 Grip X2 forks, which
but no one cares about the damper. It's gold on gold, isn't it?
It's the gold on gold is a special.
Do you want me to hold it?
It's a limited edition.
Limited edition. Yeah, I've got not a huge amount of space over here. Limited edition.
We can put it on the table, actually, can we?
For their 50th anniversary.
Move your little plant.
The Grip X2 damper has is the main update, really.
Yeah.
Or the Grip X damper. So they've changed from their old Grip 2 and Fit 4, and they've got a Grip X damper, an SL damper, and a Grip X2 damper. So I rode that out in the US and had a quick ride on my local trails over here. And they've done a really good job on the damper. It's on the X2 Grip X2 damper. It's not, I would say, significantly different, but they've improved it throughout the entire stroke. It tends to ride a bit higher in the travel, and the range of adjustment is now more usable. So instead of it going from something on either end that was maybe way too much or too little damping, the range of adjustment is all usable, Fox claim.
Still like 14 clicks or something on the compression, or is it reduced clicks?
I can't remember. There's probably there's a lot of clicks on there. But I found myself just in the middle, and normally on that older fork I'd be all the way like
one way or the other.
Yeah, one way or the other.
I know how I set my Grip 2 damper up. It's just fully open the compression and a little bit of low speed. But so that's the thing is I was going to say is, what's wrong with the Grip 2? Grip 2 to me, the difference between the Grip 2 and the Fit 4 was night and day. Fit 4 was really initially was quite harsh at the top, and then you found up going through the travel in the lower part, the mid-stroke and the lower part of the travel quite easy. And then they went grip 2, nice and supple up top, ramps up quite well in the middle. And I think it was probably more aimed at a free ridey, longer travel damper, whilst this sounds like it's a bit more enduro. You sit a bit higher in the travel.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think there was much wrong with the grip 2 either. I really liked it. It was that classic but cliched supple off the top, mid-stroke support, decent bottom out, nice and sensitive. But a lot of people have messaged me on Instagram and said that they found that when they had a certain combination of like rebound and compression damping, like
it would affect each other.
It would affect each other.
Yeah.
So one person said when they had the compression dialed in, it affected, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he'd done some research and found loads of examples online of people that had found that same thing. And Fox now claim there's basically way less, it's called crosstalk. So when you adjust one, it doesn't affect the other.
That's because they're on, essentially, correct me if I'm wrong here, is they're all on one rod. It's just independent parts of the point where they move. They've got shim stacks and they're trying to isolate. So there's like little washers in there and little washers in the damper that when you turn that, it should only turn the washers that are relating to the compression or whatever. But the problem is because of stiction or some tension, they're rotating the others. It's almost like if you over tighten an X2 where the rear shock, if you've got the 6mm and the 3mm adjustment, this is where I get really technical. If you end up locking one out, sometimes you can't separate the two. You can't move them independently. So
yeah, it's basically solved that. Well, I've not tested it, so it's claimed that that's like been way reduced, but there's also more valves in there. So they've gone from 7 to 23. So if you're tuning the fork, you've got way more scope to tune it, and it's more akin to like a motocross or an actual like a motorcycle damper. It's the kind of tech that you'd see in there. So when we went over, Fox introduced us to one of the guys that's been there for a couple of years, but he had a motorcycle background, and he worked with loads of motocross athletes. He was like the suspension tuner to go to, or is it like a very renowned? I probably should know the guy's name, so apologies.
Is it called Geordie?
No. Geordie's like
he's like a household name.
Yeah, he's like the race department manager for Fox. But anyway, this is the guys that developed the damper.
Okay.
So it's now more similar to like a motocross bike damper. So you've got way more scope to tune it if you're aftermarket tuning, whereas before you were more limited because there's way less shims in there.
I was going to say, so why? Surely everything is filtered down from motocross in terms of suspension. You know, that seems, you know, you're getting brands like Öhlins now and all these other brands who've come from motocross because of the similarities between the two. Why weren't they doing that before? If that was the logic to go by, is it because a bigger stanchion, a bigger fork, there's more space to do things?
Yeah, I think it was more difficult. I think maybe when they introduced the 38, the goal was to make a bigger stanchion fork and get the grip 2 damper in there. Now they've had more time to work with the space that's available and make the piston bigger, the diameter bigger. It's given them more scope to actually cram more stuff in there.
That's true.
I don't know. I'm kind of making the assumption that this is the case, but
yeah.
I guess with all that chat, the end result is the fork feels really good. Like it does feel super supple off the top. There's loads of adjustment in there. And given the choice,
it's gold.
Yeah, I'm not.
Hey, watch what you say, because remember, this is limited edition.
Yeah,
How many did you say there were?
I don't know, like 1,000
Not that
or
many
something.
then.
So, but yeah, the gold on gold works better on some bikes than others. Like if you've got a black bike, like I had the Crest line, it worked really well. But if you've got like a yellow bike,
an orange bike might not work.
Yeah.
Although you reshared the best story Instagram reel
funny.
when you first got these. Oh, I think the guy was Brazilian, and he's having a little cry because he sees your video with the forks, and then he just sprays gold over everything. And I know most of us have probably seen, especially if you worked in a bike shop, you've seen some guy who's just rattle can sprayed their whole bike, and now that's a legit finish. Rattle can spray your forks gold, top and lowers. That's a legit finish now. Fox have allowed that.
I really like these. The black. I wish they were black on every fork.
They did a limited edition like Halloween-y one, which were orange.
I think they were black on the pistachio one as well. I think, weren't they? I think so. I wish they're all black.
You know who else does? You know who does black ones?
Who?
ReCHRGD. 'Cause they make better forks.
But they have blue.
Controversial.
I'm learning some things about you.
Yeah, we're not getting on now. No, I don't know. I'm a ReCHRGD fan. Just plug and play. Easy,
I do
but-
like. I would more than happily run ReCHRGD or Fox.
Me too.
Yeah,
and again,
no.
I'd say that a majority of the bikes I've had recently have probably had Fox on there. And I think the thing that I found was now I know how to get my setup on them. It's great, but it took an extra year of playing around in terms of being able to get my Fox Grip 2 damper set up. But once I got it nailed, it's fine. Whilst ReCHRGD, I kind of know, don't worry about the compression, volume spaces, reband, we're good to go. I'd say the Zeb has changed that a bit, but yeah, I'm not too brand affiliated.
I think all of the top end forks are really good now. I think there are some nuance differences between the Fox and the Zeb. The 38 and the Zeb. But they're always getting better, aren't they?
That's true.
There's always new stuff coming out, and I'm a massive fan of like the dual crown forks now.
Yeah, if you're looking at Rampage, I think Seminok's bike looks way better than anyone with a dual crown fork. I think single crowns look way better, and arguably it gives you the ability to do bar spins and whips, which we all know I'm doing every week. So I've got the potential. There's the options there.
You can still do that with a dual crown.
What,
Just
bar spins?
Not like all the way, but you can do a bar turn.
Do the old Dorada bum look.
Yeah, but it does honestly makes way more sense on an e-bike. 180 travel and above, dual crown all the time.
I get it. Like physically, there is no
Will's
way
looking
for
at
it to
me
be
like,
better
"You're
and
nuts."
stiffer.
No,
we haven't heard much from you, Will. Go on.
Well, you know what annoys me the most, and it's the same with the knock block. All the bikes come with knock block now. Getting the bike in the car, I can't have the bar. I know that's such a
Get a van.
get a van, yeah, but I
van.
can't like lay the bike flat. And it's the same with dual crowns, isn't it? Like you can't turn the bar loads.
Yeah.
But I do like how it makes whipping easier. Get some fat motor whips because when you turn the bar,
Yeah, you
the
can
back
tap
comes
the
out as
frame.
well.
Yeah.
What, because you tap the frame
And it brings
kinda-
the back out, and then you can do the same the other way to bring it back in. But yeah, I don't know.
Arguably, you're more likely for doing fat whips than you are bar spins and
Yeah.
tail whips. So again, like if there's the benefit of that, but aesthetically, I don't think they look as good.
Yeah, but they feel so good.
Brother, you don't like
I
downhill
don't-
bikes in it.
No,
you
I
don't
do like
any
downhill. I like
bikes.
downhill bikes with the right fork on them, and then, like that's purpose built.
We've learned that he
But
likes
putting a-
130 travel
What?
bikes, so he's never going to be running a dual crown fork.
No.
What? No, I'm not. This is the thing I've always said, and this has been true for my whole mountain biking career, life, whatever, is that I'm a park rat at heart, but I'll never admit to getting a downhill bike because it's too specific. Which is why the longer travel bike, again, kind of feels more specific. Because you're right, it can do everything, but it doesn't sit in the middle as much. Because doing a cross-country ride on a long travel bike is possible, e-bike is possible, but it feels gash, and excuse my French
no,
for
it
a
doesn't.
lack of a better word.
No, disagree.
Yeah.
100%. Feels brilliant.
I'm
Hey,
not going to convince you of this.
I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do a video episode, and I'm going to bring a 200 travel bike with a dual crown,
Yeah.
and we'll find that random bike that your
Yeah.
dream bike, and we're gonna do a little challenge.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it, and I think
Cross country. We're gonna take it. Well, maybe we.
But
go
you have to
Dubby.
ride the bike as well, because it can't
Yeah.
you might be faster than me, I might be faster than you, we don't know. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like if you're riding a 200mm travel bike, you're just faster than me flat off the bat. It's gonna be biased in the favour of a longer travel bike. When in actual fact we need to reduce the variables and keep it.
We'll do the same
scientific.
thing. We'll both do the same thing on both the bikes.
Yeah, 100%. And then we'll get a lightweight, and you can just ride on your own
I was just wondering, do you fight at the end in like a cage?
with the bikes.
No, just you two.
Oh, you're making this sound.
I feel like it would add a bit of, make it more interesting though.
Would you watch that video?
Oh, 100%.
Then we're gonna do it.
Yeah, let's do it. If Will watch it, that's our test.
I'll be your one viewer. One viewer.
Pretty interesting topics. We covered quite a bit, and
Yeah.
nice.
Did we get to the answers of anything?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know. But hopefully anyone watching this enjoyed our first ramble.
Yeah.
I just noticed we don't all have to wear black, by the way, but we're all wearing black, which is,
Feel
yeah.
like a stage hand in a theatre production. You know, I
Yeah.
need to just want to filter into the background, not be seen. You hear my words, not my face. Don't see my face.
So if you're listening to the podcast, we're all wearing black. But thanks for watching or listening. And yeah, we want to do one of these a week, actually. So
Yeah.
we will be doing one of these a week. So thanks for putting up with us, and yeah, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you all soon. And thanks for Will and Adam for joining me on the
Thank you.
first. Cheers. Bye.
See you.